Real influence begins in the silence of your own mind. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This points to a profound truth about power. What if the most powerful person in the room is the one who says the least? Stoicism offers a complete framework for cultivating this exact quality, a silent authority that radiates from an unshakable inner core. This is not about manipulative tactics or forced silence. It is an internal, character-based journey. By the end of this, you will understand how to build a foundation of inner status so solid that it commands respect without a single word. We will explore how ancient practices can forge a presence that is both calm and compelling. What does true inner strength feel like to you? The Stoics believed your mind is a fortress. They called this the Inner Citadel, an unassailable core of peace and judgment that no outside event can ever truly breach. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about this concept, describing it as a private stronghold within yourself. This is not about building walls to hide from the world. It is about creating an inner sanctuary so secure that external chaos, criticism, or pressure simply loses its power to disturb you. Think of the calm, still center of a violent storm. While winds howl and rain lashes outside, the very heart of the storm remains tranquil. Your inner citadel is that center. When you cultivate this internal order, a profound shift occurs in how you are perceived. You stop reacting to every provocation. You no longer seek validation from fleeting applause or crumble under silent disapproval. Your posture changes, your gaze steadies, your very presence becomes grounded. This is the genesis of silent authority. It radiates from a place of such deep self-possession that it commands respect without a single demand. People are drawn to this stability, this unspoken confidence that you are anchored to something solid within yourself. So ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly unshakable internally, regardless of the chaos swirling around you? How often do your first reactive thoughts control you? We all experience that initial flash of anger, that spike of anxiety, or that sudden urge to defend ourselves. For most people, that initial impression instantly becomes a command. It hijacks their emotions and dictates their actions. But Stoicism offers a powerful alternative, a mental discipline that Epictetus called the Discipline of Assent. This is the practice of creating a crucial pause between receiving an impression and giving it your consent. That small gap, that moment of hesitation, is where your true freedom and power reside. It is the difference between being a puppet jerked around by your reactions and being the calm puppeteer who holds all the strings. Epictetus advised, remember, it is not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment about the thing. An insult is just a sound. A critical email is just text on a screen. It is your immediate, unchecked assent to the idea that these things are bad or threatening that creates the inner turmoil. When you master the discipline of assent, you stop that process at its source. You see the initial impression, you acknowledge its presence, and then, with deliberate calm, you choose whether to accept it as truth or to let it pass by like a cloud in the sky. This internal shift has a profound external effect. Imagine receiving a provoking email. Instead of firing off a heated reply, you institute a simple practice. You take a full 3-second mental pause. In that silence, you are not deciding what to say. You are deciding what is true. You are questioning the initial impression that you have been attacked or disrespected. This internal restraint projects an aura of unshakable calm. While others are emotionally tossed about by every stimulus, you remain anchored. Your silence is not empty. It is filled with considered judgment. This is the essence of silent authority, a presence that communicates control not through loud words, but through a profound and visible inner peace. The Spartans were famous for their laconic speech, using few words with immense weight. This was not a social shortcoming, but a calculated display of power. Stoicism embraces this same principle, viewing silence not as an empty void but as a space rich with potential. Purposeful silence is a tool for sharp observation, for genuine learning, and for reinforcing your own self-possession. When you choose to remain quiet, you accomplish several things at once. You prevent yourself from misspeaking in haste, from offering a poorly considered opinion, or from revealing a reactive emotion you would rather keep private. More importantly, you create an opening to truly listen. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote, "I shall learn first, then I shall speak." This is the essence of the practice. Deep listening allows you to understand not just the words being said, but the motivations and emotions behind them. You gather intelligence about the person and the situation that others, busy formulating their own responses, completely miss. This deliberate restraint makes your eventual words, when you do choose to speak, carry far more gravity. People learn that your silence means you are thinking, and that your speech is the result of that thought. This builds status not through loud declarations, but by demonstrating patience, depth, and a mind that operates on its own timetable. In your next conversation, what could you learn by speaking less and observing more? Your body communicates before you do. Long before you form a word, your posture, your expression, and the very energy you emit are sending a constant stream of messages to everyone around you. The Stoics understood this intimate connection profoundly. They saw the body not as a separate entity, but as the direct instrument of the mind, a visible reflection of your inner state. When your mind is turbulent and reactive, your body will inevitably betray that chaos with fidgeting, a clenched jaw, or a darting, unsettled gaze. Conversely, when you have cultivated that inner citadel of peace, your body naturally begins to mirror that stability. This is the foundation of an impervious posture, a physical presence that broadcasts unshakable confidence without uttering a sound. Think of the steady gaze that holds without aggression, the relaxed shoulders that signal a readiness to bear weight without strain, the deliberate movements that suggest every action is a choice, not a reaction. This is not about striking a power pose or putting on a false front. It is about allowing the calm you have built inside to express itself outwardly. This non-verbal language is incredibly powerful. It tells people you are in a dialogue with yourself first, that your composure is not dependent on their approval or their provocations. It forms a critical part of that silent authority because it demonstrates self-control in its most visible form. A simple yet profoundly effective way to cultivate this is through mindful breathing. The next time you feel stress beginning to tighten your chest or quicken your pulse, do not fight it. Instead, bring your full attention to your breath. Take one slow, deep inhalation, feeling your lungs expand, and then release the air with a measured, controlled exhale. This single act does two things simultaneously. It oxygenates your body, calming the nervous system, and it forces your mind to focus on a deliberate, internal action, wresting control back from the external chaos. Your shoulders will drop, your stance will settle, and your face will soften. Your body becomes a testament to your inner command. So, take a moment right now to notice your own physical state. Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders creeping toward your ears? What is your body silently communicating about the condition of your mind in this very moment? Are you truly seeing, or are you just looking? There is a profound difference, a chasm that separates passive sight from active, intentional observation. This is the next layer of building your silent authority, a practice the Stoics mastered. It is the art of viewing the world and the people in it without the immediate filter of your own judgments and reactions. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself in his meditations to strip away the added narrative, to see things as they are, not as you assume them to be. He wrote, "Do not add to what you see with your own suppositions. When someone speaks harshly, your initial impression might be one of insult, but intentional observation asks you to pause that story. You see only the movement of their lips, the sound of their voice. You observe their body language, the context of the situation, without instantly labeling it as an attack." This detached awareness is not cold or uncaring. It is the ultimate form of clarity. It allows you to gather information with the precision of a scientist, seeing the raw data of human behavior before your own biases color it. By observing a room without the pressure to contribute, you start to notice the subtle hierarchies, the unspoken alliances, the quiet insecurities masked by loud voices. You see who seeks validation, who holds real influence, and who is merely performing. This knowledge is power, but it is a quiet power. It allows you to respond from a place of genuine understanding, not from a reactive assumption. Your silence becomes a vessel for learning, and when you do choose to act or speak, your actions are informed, precise, and carry significantly more weight. Try this for just one day. Consciously decide to be an observer in your social interactions. Go to a meeting or a coffee shop and simply watch. Listen to the rhythm of conversations without feeling the need to insert your own voice. Notice how this shift from participant to observer changes your perception. You are no longer caught in the current of every interaction. You are standing on the bank, watching the river flow, understanding its currents and its depths. This practice builds a reservoir of calm insight that forms the very bedrock of a commanding, silent presence. Seek discomfort to build resilience. This sounds counterintuitive, yet it is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. The ancients called this voluntary hardship, a deliberate choice to expose yourself to minor inconveniences and deprivations. Why would anyone do this? The purpose is not to punish the body, but to train the soul. It is a vaccination for the spirit, building antibodies against the fear of future adversity. By willingly embracing small hardships, you prove to your deepest self that you can endure far more than you believed. Seneca powerfully advised his friend Lucilius to regularly practice poverty. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?' This is the ultimate test of your inner citadel." You are not merely thinking about being resilient. You are actively demonstrating it to your own psyche. You are forging a deep-seated confidence that you are not dependent on perfect external conditions for your peace or your status. This practice directly fuels your silent authority. When you know on a cellular level that you can handle discomfort, that you can go without, that you are not a slave to your own comforts, a quiet assurance begins to radiate from you. People who are fragile, who are dependent on their creature comforts for their sense of self, subconsciously recognize this unshakable quality in you. They see someone who cannot be easily manipulated by pleasure or pain, by convenience or inconvenience. In our modern world, this practice is remarkably accessible. It does not require you to sleep on the floor, though you could. It can be as simple as taking a cold shower when a warm one is readily available. For those 60 seconds under the chilling water, you are not just cleaning your body. You are in a dialogue with your own will. The initial shock screams for you to turn the knob to hot, but you stand there breathing steadily and you choose the discomfort. You practice the discipline of assent with your own primal impulses. You say no to the immediate demand for ease, or perhaps you skip a meal not for dietary reasons but as a practice in self-denial. You feel the hunger pangs and you observe them without being ruled by them. You prove to yourself that the feeling is temporary and that your mind is in command. Each time you do this, you are depositing a small amount of unshakable confidence into your inner bank. You are building a track record with yourself. That record becomes the foundation of a presence that says, without a word, I am prepared for whatever comes. What minor comfort could you voluntarily set aside today to remind yourself of your own immense strength? The Stoics practiced premeditating loss. They called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, a deliberate exercise of visualizing the things you value being taken away. This is not about cultivating a bleak or pessimistic worldview. It is a psychological tool, a form of inoculation for the soul. By mentally rehearsing potential challenges, setbacks, or even profound losses, you perform a remarkable feat. You strip those future events of their element of surprise and their power to shock you into paralysis. Seneca advised his friend to regularly contemplate exile, writing, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Imagine for a moment truly considering the loss of your job, the end of a cherished relationship, or a decline in your social status. You do not dwell on the misery. Instead, you walk through the scenario in your mind with calm detachment. You see yourself navigating the practical steps. You feel the initial sting of the emotion, and then you observe yourself enduring, adapting, and ultimately continuing on. You prove to your deepest self that you would survive. This practice does two profound things simultaneously. First, it builds immense emotional resilience. When a real setback occurs, it feels familiar, almost expected. You meet it not with panic, but with a quiet, prepared resolve. This is the source of that unshakable calm others perceive in you. While people around you are thrown into turmoil by unforeseen events, you remain steady because for you, the event was not unforeseen. You have already lived through it in the safe theater of your mind. Second, and perhaps more beautifully, this practice ignites a deep, visceral appreciation for the present. By consciously imagining life without your health, your loved ones, or your comforts, you suddenly see them not as entitlements but as temporary gifts. Your morning coffee tastes richer. The sound of a friend's laughter becomes more precious. This grounded gratitude further stabilizes your inner world, making you less needy, less desperate for external validation. Your silent authority grows because you are no longer clinging to things outside your control. You hold them with an open hand, appreciating them fully while knowing you are prepared to let them go. So take a moment for a quiet reflection. What is one thing you fear losing, and how can mentally rehearsing that loss, walking through that fear with clear eyes, actually make you stronger and more anchored than you are today? A scattered mind is a fragile mind pulled in a dozen directions by past regrets and future worries. But a focused mind, one anchored entirely in the present moment, is a fortress of its own. The Stoics saw this with piercing clarity. They taught that the present moment is the only slice of time we ever truly possess or control. The past is a memory, the future a speculation, but the now is the solid ground beneath your feet. When your attention is fractured, living in a dozen different times and places at once, your inner status becomes diluted and weak. You are easily knocked off balance by a memory or a fear. But when you pull all of your consciousness into the current moment, you become dense, solid, and incredibly difficult to move. This is not a mystical state. It is a practical discipline of directing your attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote a simple, powerful command to himself: do every act of your life as if it were your last. He was not being morbid. He was insisting on the profound importance of giving your full focus to the task immediately before you. Whether that task is listening to a colleague, washing a dish, or walking to your car, doing it with your complete attention roots you in reality. This present moment awareness is the very bedrock of that calm authority we have been exploring. Think of the most commanding person you have ever met. Chances are when they spoke with you, you felt like you were the only person in the room. They were not distracted by their phone. Their gaze did not wander over your shoulder. Their mind was not already formulating a reply. They were fully there with you in that shared moment. That quality of deep, undivided presence is magnetic. It communicates a silent power that says, I am not lost in thought. I am here completely. This is how you project authority without a word. You are not performing for an audience. You are simply wholly engaged. The next time you feel anxiety creeping in, that familiar tug toward a future problem or a past mistake, try this simple Stoic pause. Do not fight the feeling. Instead, ground yourself in the raw data of your current sensory experience. Pause for just 3 breaths. On the first breath, notice one thing you can see, not just a label, but the actual texture and color. On the second breath, notice one thing you can hear, a distant hum or the sound of your own breathing. On the third breath, notice one physical sensation, the feeling of your feet on the floor or the fabric of your shirt on your skin. This tiny act does not solve your problems, but it does something more important. It pulls you out of the abstract world of worry and plants you firmly back into the tangible, manageable reality of the present. In this space, you are no longer a victim of time. You are its master. You are a self-contained universe. The Stoics envisioned the ideal human being as a complete and self-sufficient system, finding all the resources for a good life within the boundaries of their own mind and character. Your fulfillment, your worth, your very reason for being does not need to be outsourced. It is not held in the hands of a fickle public, a demanding boss, or a fluctuating bank account. This is the profound virtue of self-containment. When you build your life around this principle, you achieve a kind of emotional and spiritual independence that renders you practically untouchable. The opinions of others, their praise or their scorn, simply lose their power to dictate your inner state. Your worth is not a prize for others to grant or withhold. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and understood true powerlessness, put it with devastating clarity. He said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." And what most people think they know is that their value comes from outside themselves. They spend their lives on a desperate quest for that next promotion, that compliment, that symbol of status, believing it will finally fill the emptiness inside. But the self-contained individual has already arrived. They are not waiting for permission to be happy or to feel significant. This internal resourcefulness is the ultimate source of that silent authority. Imagine 2 people in a room. One is constantly scanning the crowd for signs of approval, his mood shifting with every glance. The other is calm, settled, his attention turned inward as if consulting a deep, private wellspring of assurance. Which one commands more respect without saying a word? The answer is obvious. The second individual's presence alone communicates a powerful message: I am already complete. I am not here for your validation. This does not make you arrogant or disconnected. It makes you free. Your interactions become genuine exchanges, not covert pleas for affirmation. So here is a question to sit with in the quiet of your own mind. How much of your sense of self, your daily happiness, and your feeling of worth is currently dependent on things that exist entirely outside your control? Your mind has 2 primary functions, and understanding them changes everything. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus laid it out with stunning clarity. He said our minds are built for just 2 things, desire and aversion. We are wired to want some things and to push other things away. The entire project of a tranquil, powerful life rests on applying the right discipline to these two fundamental impulses. The discipline of desire is not about suppressing what you want. It is about redirecting it. You train yourself to desire only what is truly good, which the Stoics defined as virtue, and only what is within your complete control. You stop yearning for the promotion, the perfect compliment, the specific outcome in a meeting. Instead, you consciously choose to desire acting with courage, with justice, with integrity. The discipline of aversion is its perfect counterpart. You train yourself to avoid only what is truly bad, which is vice and error, and only what lies within your power to avoid. You do not waste energy trying to avert criticism, discomfort, or failure, as these are not entirely up to you. Your only job is to avoid acting dishonestly, cowardly, or without wisdom. When you master these two disciplines, a profound internal shift occurs. Your will becomes perfectly aligned with the nature of the world. You no longer exhaust yourself by craving what the universe may not provide, or by fighting against realities you cannot change. This alignment is the source of an unbreakable internal harmony. Imagine you are about to have a difficult conversation where you need to deliver unwelcome news. The undisciplined mind desires one thing above all: a smooth, agreeable outcome where everyone likes you. This desire sets you up for internal turmoil because that outcome is not in your power. The moment the other person becomes upset, your peace shatters. You feel like a failure, but the disciplined mind approaches the exact same situation with a completely different desire. Your sole objective is to act with integrity, to be clear, compassionate, and just in your speech. You desire only to fulfill your duty with wisdom. The outcome, whether it is acceptance or anger, is met with the same inner stability. You did what was up to you. This is the final, critical piece of your silent authority. When you are not desperately attached to external results, a magnetic calm surrounds you. People sense that you are operating from a deeper set of principles, that you cannot be bribed by their approval or broken by their rejection. Epictetus captured the immense freedom of this practice when he wrote, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens, and you will be happy." Your power is no longer conditional on the world conforming to your wishes. It is rooted in the unshakable knowledge that you will want only what is good and avoid only what is evil, regardless of the chaos swirling around you. What difficult situation are you facing where you could shift your desire from a specific outcome to the simple, powerful act of behaving with virtue? Your greatest power is your faculty of choice. While everything else can be stripped away, your ability to choose your response remains inviolate. The former slave Epictetus gave this power a name, proherses. This is your moral character, your will, the very center of your being that judges, decides, and assents. It is the one thing that is truly and forever up to you. External events, no matter how brutal, can never touch this inner citadel unless you grant them entry. An insult only wounds if you judge it to be true. A financial loss only devastates if you assent to the idea that it defines your worth. Your proherses is the final, unbreachable gate. When you build your entire life around this unassailable core, you cultivate the deepest form of silent authority imaginable. Epictetus drew a line in the sand for all of humanity. He said, "What is up to us is our faculty of judgment, our impulse to act, our desire, our aversion." In short, everything that is our own doing, everything not up to us is our body, our property, our reputation, our official position. In short, everything that is not our own doing. This is the ultimate declaration of independence. Your reputation is not up to you. Your body will eventually fail. Your possessions can be lost. but your choice to act with courage, to judge with clarity, to desire only what is virtuous that can never be taken. This is the foundation of an unbreakable will. Think of a time you felt truly wronged. The initial pain was real, but the lasting suffering came from your continued assent to the narrative of being a victim. You handed the keys to your inner peace over to that past event. Reclaiming your proherses means taking those keys back. It means looking at that same memory and consciously choosing a new judgment. Perhaps you choose to see it as a lesson in resilience, or you simply decide that it no longer gets to occupy space in your mind. This is not suppression. It is the ultimate act of sovereignty. Your silent authority grows from this profound self-ownership. People sense when someone's center of gravity is located within themselves, not in the fleeting opinions of others. They see a person who cannot be manipulated by threats or seduced by flattery, because their inner compass points only to what is right and true. So, identify one area of your life where you have been consistently blaming externals for your state of mind. Is it a demanding job, a difficult relationship, a financial pressure? Now, in that specific arena, make the conscious choice to reclaim your proherses. Ask yourself, what judgment am I holding onto here that is causing me distress, and what new, empowered choice can I make in its place? Detachment is not indifference. One is a cold withdrawal from life, while the other is a profound engagement with it from a place of unshakable clarity. This is the core of Stoic cognitive detachment, a mental stance that allows you to observe the river of your own thoughts and emotions without being swept away by the current. Marcus Aurelius beautifully described this inner landscape when he wrote, "Your mind will be like its habitual thoughts, for the soul becomes dyed by the thoughts." He constantly reminded himself to watch the procession of his impressions as if they were passing clouds or leaves floating down a stream. You are not the cloud. You are the sky, you are not the leaf, you are the bank of the river. This meta-awareness, this ability to step back and witness your own internal process, is the ultimate tool for self-command. When a surge of anger arises, the untrained mind becomes the anger. It clenches, it reacts, it speaks with a sharp tongue. But with cognitive detachment, you create a small but crucial space. You notice the sensation of heat, the rapid heartbeat, the critical narrative forming in your mind. You see it all, yet you are not fused to it. This slight distance is where your power resides. It allows you to manage your internal state with the precision of a skilled captain navigating rough seas, rather than being a helpless passenger tossed about by the waves. This cultivated inner calm then radiates outward, becoming a powerful non-verbal signal of strength. Your face remains composed, your body relaxed, your breathing steady, even as internal storms may briefly brew. People see someone who is not easily thrown off center, someone whose peace is not hostage to every passing emotion. A simple and profoundly effective way to practice this is to change the language you use in your own mind. The next time you feel a strong emotion, shift from a statement of identity to a statement of observation. Instead of telling yourself, "I am angry," try the phrase, "I am experiencing a feeling of anger." This tiny linguistic shift creates an immediate psychological distance. You are no longer the emotion itself. You are the conscious being who is temporarily hosting it. You move from being a prisoner in the cell to the guard observing the prisoner from the corridor. This practice does not eliminate the feeling, but it robs it of its tyrannical power. It allows you to acknowledge the anger, understand its message, and then choose your response with wisdom, rather than being compelled by its raw force. What thought or feeling are you currently so identified with that it feels like it is you? And what would it feel like to simply observe it from a gentle, compassionate distance? How quickly do you form opinions? In an age of instant reactions and hot takes, there is immense pressure to have an immediate judgment about everything. But this rush to decide is a trap, and the Stoics knew it. The virtue of reserved judgment is a profound discipline of the mind, a conscious choice to withhold your final verdict on events and people. Epictetus offered a clear directive: do not be swept away by the vividness of the impression, but say, "Wait for me a little, impression. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me test you." This is the practice of creating a buffer zone for your mind. When you hear a piece of scandalous news or someone makes a remark that seems insulting, your initial impression screams for you to categorize it, to label it as good or bad, right or wrong. Reserved judgment is the act of calmly telling that impression to wait. You are not denying the information. You are simply refusing to be rushed into a conclusion. This single habit accomplishes three powerful things at once. First, it prevents you from making rash, emotional reactions that you may later regret. Second, it allows you to gather more information, to see the situation from multiple angles, leading to a far more accurate and nuanced understanding. And third, it cultivates a deep intellectual humility, an acknowledgement that your first impression is rarely the whole truth. This reserved, thoughtful approach is a magnet for respect. It projects a quiet, authoritative intelligence. People learn that your opinions are not cheaply formed, that your mind is a place of careful consideration, not hasty prejudice. Your silence in the face of a provocative statement is not ignorance. It is the sound of a mind at work. To build this muscle, try a simple application. The next time you receive a shocking piece of news or hear a controversial opinion, make a private commitment to yourself. You will not form a firm, final judgment on it for at least 1 full hour. In that space, you are free to observe, to question, to consider alternative explanations. You break the addictive cycle of instant reaction and reclaim the dignity of your own deliberate thought. What opinion are you holding right now that could benefit from being gently placed back on the shelf, unfinished, for just a little while longer? Mental calmness under pressure is a superpower that few ever master. The Stoics called this state equanimity, an inner steadiness that remains unshaken by the shifting winds of fortune. It is not the absence of feeling, but the presence of a deep and unwavering composure. This is the ideal of an even-keeled mind, a mind that meets triumph and disaster with the same quiet poise. Your inner status becomes truly unshakable when neither the sting of blame nor the seduction of praise can knock you off your center. This steadiness is born from a radical acceptance of a simple truth, that your peace must never be held hostage by events outside your command. Seneca captured the beauty of this state perfectly when he wrote, "What is the fruit of these teachings? Only the most beautiful and fitting harvest of the truly educated, tranquility, fearlessness, and freedom." We should not trust the crowd, for the crowd applauds both good and bad things. And we should not trust fame, for it is just the noisy applause of that same crowd. When you internalize this, you stop looking for validation in the right places and start building it in the only place it can last, within yourself. You become a stabilizing force in any room you enter, a calm harbor in the midst of a stormy sea. Think back to a recent event that disturbed your peace. Perhaps it was a critical comment from a coworker or an unexpected setback in your plans. In that moment, your peace was likely conditional, dependent on the world behaving exactly as you wanted. Now, reimagine that same scenario with genuine equanimity. The external event remains the same, but your internal world is a fortress. The criticism is heard, but it does not trigger a defensive reaction. The setback is noted, but it does not spiral into anxiety. Your response from this place of calm would not be weak or passive. It would be measured, clear, and profoundly powerful because it would originate from choice, not from chaos. That is the silent authority of an even temper in action. Your character is ultimately defined not by what you say, but by what you do. The Stoics placed immense emphasis on right action, on the quiet and efficient execution of your duty, regardless of whether anyone is watching or applauding. This is the authority of purposeful action. When your deeds are consistently aligned with a deep internal compass of virtue, they create a powerful, non-verbal narrative about who you are. Marcus Aurelius offered a beautifully simple directive for this. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is the core of it. Stop debating the theory of integrity and start practicing it in the small, mundane moments of your day. Your silent authority grows from this relentless focus on the next right thing. It is the cumulative effect of 1,000 tiny, principled actions. Imagine you have made a promise to a colleague to complete a task. You could do it hastily, with complaints, or while making sure everyone knows the effort you are expending. Or you could simply do it. You could fulfill that responsibility with quiet thoroughness, your focus entirely on the quality of the work itself, not on the credit you might receive. When you operate this way, something shifts in how you are perceived. People begin to see you as someone whose word is solid, whose actions are reliable, and whose motives are not clouded by a desperate need for recognition. This builds a profound and unspoken trust. Your presence communicates that you are a person of substance, not just of words. Your energy is not dissipated in self-congratulation or in managing perceptions. It is channeled entirely into the work at hand, into the principled action itself. This focused intent is magnetic. It demonstrates a mind that is not easily distracted by the superficial rewards of a task, but is instead committed to its inherent purpose. So the next time you are faced with a duty, large or small, ask yourself a simple question. Am I doing this to be seen doing it, or am I doing it because it is the right and necessary thing to do? Let your answer be reflected in the quiet, purposeful action that follows. Your breath is the anchor line to your inner state. In the space of a single inhalation and exhalation, you can reclaim command over a scattered mind and a reactive body. This is the heart of mindful composure, a practice the Stoics understood not as emotional suppression, but as the intelligent management of your physical form. They saw the body as the soul's instrument, a vessel through which your inner character is either expressed or betrayed. When you consciously relax your shoulders, steady your gaze, and slow your breathing, you are not hiding what you feel. You are choosing the most dignified and effective way to express your command of the situation. This non-verbal self-mastery sends an undeniable signal of strength, a quiet declaration that you are the one directing your actions, not the chaos of the moment. It tells everyone around you that you are in a dialogue with yourself before you engage with them. Before you step into any high-pressure environment, a meeting, a difficult conversation, a crowded room, try this simple technique. Find a quiet corner for just 60 seconds. Place your feet flat on the floor and rest your hands comfortably. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, feeling your lungs expand fully. Hold that breath for a count of 4, allowing a sense of stillness to settle in. Then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, releasing all the physical tension you can identify. Repeat this cycle just 3 times. This is not about escaping your feelings, but about grounding them in the reality of your body. You are not trying to become a statue. You are becoming the calm, purposeful captain of your own ship, ready to navigate whatever waters lie ahead. How different would your next challenge feel if you entered it not with tension, but with this deliberate and grounded composure? Your current struggle is a single thread in the tapestry of human history. the Stoics developed a powerful mental exercise to reveal this truth, known as the view from above. This is a meditation where you consciously pull your perspective back, farther and farther, until your life is seen from a cosmic vantage point. You start by visualizing your own room, then your city from the clouds, then the entire earth as a blue marble hanging in the void. From this immense distance, the borders of nations vanish, the noise of crowds falls silent, and your personal dramas are reduced to their true scale. Marcus Aurelius practiced this relentlessly, reminding himself of the vastness of existence to quiet the clamor of his ego. He wrote, "Look at everything that exists, and observe that it is already in dissolution and in change, and as it were putrefaction or dispersion, or that everything is so constituted by nature as to die." Consider the vast deserts of time, the infinity of space. This is not a bleak thought. It is a liberating one. Your urgent problem, the one that feels so all-consuming, becomes a tiny, fleeting event in the grand sweep of the cosmos. The colleague who slighted you, the project that failed, the social embarrassment you cannot shake, all of it loses its grip when viewed against the backdrop of galaxies and centuries. This practice systematically shrinks your trivial concerns and inflates your sense of connection to something larger than yourself. The result is a profound and unshakable calm, a quiet understanding that your moment, however difficult, is just that, a moment. When you operate from this expanded viewpoint, you stop reacting to petty provocations. You respond from a place of wisdom because you see the temporary nature of everything involved. This is the mark of true authority, an inner stillness that comes from knowing your place in the grand scheme. Try this reflective exercise with a worry that is haunting you right now. Close your eyes for just a moment and project that concern forward in time. First, see it from the perspective of 1 year from now. Will this problem still hold the same weight, the same sharp edge of anxiety? Then take the even braver step. Look at it from the vantage point of 1 century from now. In 100 years, everyone involved in this situation will be gone. The buildings you walk through will have new occupants. The organizations you fret over will have transformed or vanished. From that silent future, what remains of your current struggle? This is not to make your life seem insignificant, but to make your peace feel infinitely more attainable. A house divided against itself cannot stand. This ancient truth applies with equal force to the human spirit. Your silent authority, that magnetic presence we have been exploring, finds its most potent source in a state of inner unity. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature, which for a rational being means a life of complete integrity, where your deepest values, your private thoughts, your spoken words, and your visible actions exist in perfect harmony. There are no gaps, no contradictions, no silent apologies you must make to yourself. When you achieve this congruence, your energy is no longer dissipated in managing internal conflicts or maintaining a facade. Every ounce of your being is channeled into a single, coherent presence. This is the integrity of congruent character. It is felt by others as an undeniable and trustworthy force. They may not consciously identify it as integrity, but they sense the solidity. They recognize someone who is not pretending, performing, or hiding. There is a profound ease in your demeanor because you are not at war with yourself. Epictetus pointed directly to this, stating, "First, tell yourself what kind of person you want to be, then do what you have to do." For the Stoic, the pursuit of virtue is the relentless journey toward this wholeness. It is the daily work of ensuring your actions are faithful translations of your principles. Think of a time you witnessed someone say one thing but do another. Perhaps a leader who preached accountability but never accepted blame, or a friend who spoke of loyalty but engaged in gossip. However subtly, their authority was compromised. A small leak of trust appeared each time. Now consider the opposite, the person whose promises are always kept, whose calm words in a crisis are matched by decisive, courageous action. You do not just respect this person, you trust their very presence. Their silence is filled with the weight of their consistency. This is the final, unshakable foundation of your inner status. It is built not on a single grand gesture, but on the quiet, cumulative choice, moment by moment, to act as the person you have decided to be. So, in the stillness of your own reflection, identify one single area where a small but persistent gap exists. Where do your actions, even in a minor way, fall short of the values you claim to hold? The alignment of that one discrepancy, more than any technique, will solidify your presence into something truly unbreakable. Love your fate. Amor fati is a simple Latin phrase that carries the weight of a profound shift in consciousness. It is a concept embraced by the philosopher Nietzsche, yet it echoes the very heart of Stoic wisdom. This is not passive resignation, a quiet sigh of giving up. It is an active, dynamic embrace of every single event, every twist of fortune, especially the difficult and unexpected ones. It is the decision to see every obstacle not as a barrier, but as the very fuel your growth requires. When you cultivate this mindset, you stop fighting reality. You stop wasting precious energy on the internal protest, the why me, the this is not fair. That cessation of resistance is what forges an unbreakable resilience. Others perceive this as a formidable inner strength, a person who cannot be knocked down because they have learned to dance with the force of the blow. Marcus Aurelius captured this spirit perfectly when he wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Your life, with all its setbacks and hardships, is that fire." The things thrown into it are not meant to extinguish the flames. They are the fuel that makes you burn brighter and hotter. Here is a practical way to begin. Think of a recent setback, something that felt like a genuine failure or a deep disappointment. Perhaps a project that was cancelled, a rejection you received, or a plan that fell completely apart. Your initial reaction was likely one of frustration. Now, apply amor fati. Actively reframe that event. Ask yourself, how can this be a necessary and even beneficial part of my journey? What hidden door has this closed window forced me to see? Maybe that cancelled project frees you for a better opportunity that was just around the corner. That rejection protects you from a path that was not aligned with your true purpose. That failed plan teaches you a lesson in adaptability you would have never learned otherwise. By loving this fate, you are not pretending it did not hurt. You are simply choosing to see it as an essential thread in the tapestry of your life, a thread that adds strength, contrast, and depth to the final picture. What setback are you currently resisting that you could, with a courageous heart, choose to love instead? Your eyes are the silent ambassadors of your inner world. While your posture and breathing broadcast a general state of calm, your gaze delivers a specific, undeniable message about your presence and authority. A steady, calm, and attentive gaze communicates a profound self-possession. It tells the person you are with that you are fully here, undistracted and unafraid. This is not the challenging stare of a confrontation, nor the fleeting, avoidant glance of insecurity. It is a soft focus, a receptive attention that conveys confidence without aggression. The Stoics were masters of controlling their external expressions as a direct reflection of their internal discipline. They understood that the eyes, often the most reactive feature, must be trained to reflect the stillness of the inner citadel. When your gaze remains steady, even in a difficult conversation, you are practicing a powerful form of non-verbal assent. You are assenting to the reality of the moment without being swept away by the emotional current it may carry. You are demonstrating that you can observe another person's frustration or passion without needing to mirror it or retreat from it. This creates a remarkable dynamic. The other person feels truly seen and heard, not judged or opposed, which often naturally diffuses their own intensity. Your calm becomes a quiet invitation for them to meet you on that same ground. A simple way to cultivate this is to shift the objective of your eye contact. In your next conversation, make a conscious effort to maintain a soft, relaxed gaze while you are listening. Do not focus on planning your reply or on the self-consciousness of holding eye contact. Instead, direct your entire attention toward understanding the complete message behind their words. Watch the subtle movements around their eyes and mouth, which often reveal more than the words themselves. This practice does two things simultaneously. It anchors you firmly in the present moment, preventing your mind from racing ahead into reaction, and it communicates a deep, respectful engagement that builds trust and authority without a single word being spoken. Your eyes, in their stillness, become a mirror reflecting the unshakable peace you have built within. There is a world of difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is a knee-jerk explosion, an immediate burst of emotion that hijacks your behavior. It is raw, unedited, and often leaves a trail of regret. A response, however, is something you consciously build. It is a choice, a considered action that emerges from a place of inner clarity. The entire architecture of Stoic inner strength is built on mastering that crucial distinction. The Roman teacher Epictetus, who understood the chains of reactivity better than most, gave us the key. He said, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments about events." An event is just an event, a neutral fact. Your judgment, that immediate internal shout of "this is bad" or "this is unfair," is the spark that ignites the reactive fire. The discipline of non-reactivity is the practice of letting that spark die out before it can catch flame. It is the conscious creation of a pause, a sacred space between the stimulus and your answer. In that small, silent gap, your character is not just revealed, it is actively forged. This is where silent authority truly flourishes. When you are not jerked around by every external provocation, you project a stability that others instinctively trust and respect. Your calm is not an act, it is the visible result of an internal process, a mind that has learned to question its own first impressions. Think of a common trigger in your own life. It could be a certain tone of voice from a partner, a last-minute demand from a superior, or the careless comment of a stranger. In that moment, the old pattern screams for you to react, to snap back, to tense up, to defend. Now imagine inserting a single conscious pause. You do not need an hour. You need only 3 seconds of deliberate silence. In that brief window, you are not deciding what to say. You are deciding what is true. You are asking Epictetus's question, is this event itself disturbing me, or is it solely my judgment about it? By choosing to insert that pause, you reclaim your sovereignty. You transition from being a puppet of circumstance to the author of your own response. What is one common trigger that causes you to react, and how can you consciously insert that life-changing pause the very next time it appears? Genuine power is found not in controlling the world, but in knowing precisely what you can and cannot command. This is the core of the Stoic dichotomy of control, a division so fundamental it redefines your entire relationship with power and ultimately cultivates a profound and unshakable humility. The former slave Epictetus laid it out with breathtaking simplicity, stating that our only true possessions are our judgments, our impulses to act, our desires, and our aversions. Everything else, from our physical bodies to our reputations to the actions of other people, exists outside that sacred inner citadel. This is not a philosophical suggestion. It is a map of reality, True humility, the kind that radiates silent authority, is born from this radical and honest self-assessment. It is the quiet acceptance that you are not the master of the universe, but you are the absolute sovereign of your own inner kingdom. When you stop wasting your energy trying to command the tides of external events and instead focus all your effort on governing your own choices, a remarkable stability takes root. The frantic need to manage outcomes and opinions simply evaporates. You become like a deep-rooted tree in a storm. Your branches may sway, but your core remains unmoved because your strength is drawn from the soil of your own character, not from the shifting winds outside. A practical way to ground this principle is to take a challenging situation you are currently facing and make a concrete, written list. Draw a line down the center of a page. On one side, write down every single element that is within your control. This list will be short, powerful, and focused entirely on you. Your effort, your honesty, your willingness to listen, your choice to act with integrity. On the other side, write down everything that is not within your control. This list will likely be long, encompassing other people's reactions, final outcomes, delays, criticisms, and praise. The simple act of creating this list forces a cognitive shift. You see the truth in black and white. Your energy has a clear and proper direction. You stop wrestling with phantoms and start building with the only materials you truly own. What difficult scenario in your life could be transformed by this simple act of delineation? By humbly accepting what is not yours to command and taking full responsibility for what is. Everything you see is in a state of quiet departure. The Stoics observed this fundamental rhythm of existence, that all things are given to us on loan, destined to change form or vanish entirely. This is not a cause for despair, but the very key to a life of profound focus and freedom. They practiced a powerful meditation on this truth, known as Memento Mori, the remembrance that you will die. This is not a morbid fixation on the end, but a vibrant tool to sharpen your vision for the life you are living now. It is the ultimate prioritization filter. When you hold the finite nature of your time as a conscious awareness, the trivial concerns that so often consume your mental energy, the petty grievances and the desperate clinging to status, simply lose their power over you. You stop wasting your life force on things that, in the final accounting, do not matter. This deep acceptance of transience is what ultimately grounds your inner status in the only thing that is eternal, the quality of your character. Your reputation will fade, your possessions will scatter, but the person you became in the process, that is your lasting legacy. Seneca, in his letters, cut to the heart of the matter with a poignant question. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested." The practice of Memento Mori is that investment. It is the daily reminder to stop investing in trivialities and start building a life of substance. Imagine carrying this awareness with you into your daily interactions. The need to win an argument evaporates, replaced by a desire for genuine understanding. The fear of a social misstep dissolves, overshadowed by the courage to be authentically yourself. Your silent authority grows from this place of release because you are no longer clinging to the shifting sands of external validation. You are anchored to the bedrock of your own principled existence. So, in the quiet of your own mind, ask yourself this reflective question. If you knew for certain that this was your last year of life, what handful of trivial concerns, worries, or vain pursuits would you immediately and without hesitation drop? Your deepest motives sculpt the quality of your silence. Every action you take is secretly powered by one of two engines, either a desire to contribute genuine value or a desperate need to receive validation. The first builds an unshakable inner core, while the second leaves you perpetually vulnerable to the opinions of others. The Stoic ideal is to act for the common welfare and for the sake of the virtuous act itself, never for the applause that may or may not follow. When your primary drive is contribution, you are freed from the exhausting work of managing perceptions. Your energy flows entirely into the work, into the service, into the moment. This is the bedrock of that independent, silent authority we have been exploring. Marcus Aurelius captured this with stunning clarity in his private writings, urging himself, "When you have done a good act and another has received it, why do you look for a third thing besides these, like fools, to be credited with having done good or to be repaid?" You are not waiting for a thank you note from the universe. The act itself is its own complete reward. This shift in motive is everything. Think of two people working on the same team project. One is constantly mentioning their contributions in meetings, subtly fishing for recognition, their inner peace rising and falling with each bit of feedback. The other is quietly focused on the task, solving problems, elevating the work for its own sake, their satisfaction drawn from the quality of the solution itself. Which person commands a deeper, more unspoken respect? The answer is obvious. The second individual's presence communicates a powerful self-containment. They are not there to extract value from others in the form of praise. They are there to generate value, period. This makes their silence confident and their speech purposeful. To see this in your own life, take a moment to examine the motives behind a recent project or a simple interaction. Why did you really send that email, offer that help, or share that idea? Was it primarily to make a situation better, or was there a hidden whisper inside hoping someone would notice and think well of you? There is no judgment in this inquiry, only clarity. Recognizing the subtle pull of validation is the first step in redirecting your energy toward pure contribution. When you make that choice, your need for external approval quietly dissolves, and what remains is the solid ground of your own unshakable character. The world's noise demands a constant response, but your inner citadel requires quiet fortification. The Stoics championed a counterintuitive practice, the strategic withdrawal into what they called the inner room. This is not an act of escapism or social avoidance. It is a deliberate, tactical retreat from the chaos of external demands to commune with your own mind and reinforce your core principles. Seneca wrote extensively on the value of this self-imposed solitude, advising that we must periodically retreat into ourselves, for an untroubled spirit is a powerful fortress. In that quiet space, you are not hiding from the world. You are rediscovering the ground upon which you stand, so you can return to the world with greater clarity and resilience. This cyclical practice ensures your silent authority is not eroded by the constant friction of daily life, but is continually renewed from a deep, private wellspring. The palpable calm you carry after such a retreat is unmistakable. Your presence feels less reactive, more intentional, as if you are operating from a place of surplus rather than scarcity. People sense this renewed center, this quiet purpose that no longer needs to prove itself. A profoundly simple way to integrate this is to schedule a non-negotiable 15 minutes of quiet reflection into each day. This is not a time for planning or problem solving. It is a time for simply being with your own thoughts, for observing the landscape of your mind without judgment, for remembering who you are when no one is watching. In that daily withdrawal, you are actively building the unshakable inner status that speaks volumes, even in your silence. Confidence is not a feeling you summon on demand. It is a state of being forged through diligent preparation. The Stoics understood this intimate connection better than anyone. They saw life as a series of potential challenges, and their entire philosophy was a training manual for the mind, a system of preparation for whatever fortune might deliver. When you have done the inner work, when you have fortified your character and honed your skills, a natural, unshakable calm follows. You do not need to announce your readiness or explain your capabilities. Your preparedness radiates from you in a quiet self-assurance that needs no external validation. This is the silent authority of the prepared mind. Epictetus, who trained his students relentlessly, framed it with his characteristic bluntness. He said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Your inner confidence is that ripe fruit. It is the final, visible result of a long and patient process of cultivation. It cannot be faked or rushed. Think of a musician who has practiced a piece 10,000 times. When they step onto the stage, their hands do not shake. Their breathing is steady. They do not need to tell the audience they are ready. Their entire presence communicates a deep familiarity with the task at hand. They are prepared, and that preparation allows them to inhabit the moment with a master's calm. The same principle applies to the performance of your own life. When you have mentally rehearsed handling difficult conversations, when you have cultivated the skill of listening, when you have fortified your principles through daily practice, you step into your day with that same performer's poise. You are not caught off guard by adversity because you have already met it in the safe arena of your mind. Your silent authority grows from this bedrock of readiness. So, where in your life does a whisper of uncertainty suggest your preparation is incomplete? Is it in your professional skills, your emotional resilience, or perhaps in your ability to articulate your thoughts under pressure? Identify that one domain and see your commitment to prepare not as a chore, but as the direct cultivation of your future confidence. A conflicted mind is a noisy room of competing voices, each one pulling you in a different direction. But a resolved mind has reached a final, quiet verdict. Stoic practice is the method for settling these internal debates, using reason as the sole judge to arrive at firm convictions about what is genuinely good, true, and virtuous. When you know beyond any doubt what you stand for and what you will not tolerate within your own character, the internal chatter ceases. This is not stubbornness but clarity. It is the difference between a leaf tossed in the wind and a deep-rooted tree, unmoved by the same gust. This internal resolution generates a profound stillness because you are no longer torn by doubt or swayed by every external pressure. You have made your peace with the fundamental truths of your existence. Marcus Aurelius wrote of this tranquility, describing it as the peace that comes from accepting what is destined and being satisfied with the justice of your own acts. Your stillness becomes a powerful, magnetic force. People are drawn to this quiet certainty, this absence of internal conflict that radiates from a person who has settled their most important arguments with themselves. To cultivate this, try a simple but profound exercise. Take a single core Stoic principle, such as the focus on what is within your control, and write it down. Then, beneath it, write what it would look and feel like to have fully internalized this truth, to live by it without exception in your daily life. This act of writing solidifies the resolution, moving it from a thought you admire to a conviction you are building. What one principle, if you truly lived it, would bring the greatest stillness to your mind today? A secure mind naturally occupies space without apology. Your physical posture is the most immediate and honest signal of your internal state, a non-verbal broadcast of either inner conflict or unshakable calm. When your arms are crossed and your shoulders are hunched forward, you are physically building a barricade against the world. This defensive stance, often unconscious, communicates a mind that feels under siege, one that is braced for impact. It tells others you are closed off both to new ideas and to genuine connection. The Stoic ideal, however, is to live in harmony with nature, to accept the world as it is without needing to fortify yourself against it. An open posture is the physical embodiment of this philosophy. It means allowing your arms to rest comfortably at your sides, keeping your palms visible, and holding your spine upright with a natural, unforced elegance. This is not the rigid attention of a soldier, but the poised readiness of a dancer. It signals to everyone around you that you are receptive, confident, and fundamentally unthreatened. This physical openness directly reinforces your silent authority because it demonstrates that you do not perceive the environment as hostile. You are not bracing for an attack, so no attack can truly land. Your calm becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. To cultivate this, institute a simple body scan at random moments throughout your day. Right now, as you listen, notice your own body. Are your arms folded? Is your jaw clenched? Are your legs tightly crossed? Consciously release that tension. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Allow your hands to rest open and feel your weight settle evenly through your feet. This tiny physical act of surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful recalibration, a way of telling your own nervous system that all is well, thereby projecting that same unshakable assurance to the world. Your life is the only message some people will ever receive. The ultimate expression of silent authority is not found in what you achieve for yourself, but in the virtuous example you leave imprinted on the world. This is the Stoic ideal of leadership, where your character becomes a living legacy, inspiring change not through loud commands, but through the quiet, magnetic pull of a life well lived. Your integrity in moments of pressure, your resilience in the face of setbacks, and your compassion when it is least expected, these are the true materials of your influence. Marcus Aurelius did not rule by decree alone. He governed by the relentless standard he set for his own conduct. He understood that the most powerful instruction is not spoken, but demonstrated. A beautiful sentiment, often echoing this wisdom, reminds us that people may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Your silent authority, built on that unshakable inner citadel, creates an emotional resonance that words alone can never achieve. It makes others feel safe, respected, and quietly empowered to embody their own best selves. Your actions are a constant, silent curriculum, teaching those around you what is possible when a human being is anchored to principle rather than tossed by passion. This is how you build a legacy that outlasts any single achievement or spoken word. It is a light that does not need to announce its presence, but simply illuminates the path for others. What kind of silent legacy do you want your daily actions to create? This entire journey leads to a single, profound truth. Unshakable inner status is not a mask you wear, but a foundation you build from the inside out. We began within the walls of your inner citadel, that private fortress of judgment no outside event can breach. We practiced the discipline of assent, creating that crucial pause between an impression and your reaction, reclaiming your freedom in the silence. We explored purposeful silence as a tool for observation and learning, and we trained our bodies to reflect the calm we cultivate within. We learned to observe without instant judgment, to seek discomfort for resilience, and to premeditate challenges so they lose their power to shock. We anchored ourselves in the present moment, became self-contained, and aligned our desires and aversions with virtue alone. We reclaimed our ultimate power, our faculty of choice, and practiced detachment from the storms of our own minds. We reserved our judgments, cultivated equanimity, and let our actions speak with quiet integrity. We breathed with composure, viewed our lives from a cosmic perspective, and sought unity between our values and our deeds. We learn to love our fate, steady our gaze, and choose response over reaction. We embraced humility through the dichotomy of control, remembered our mortality to sharpen our focus, and shifted our motive from validation to pure contribution. We withdrew to fortify our spirit, prepared our minds for confidence, resolved our internal debates, and opened our posture as a sign of inner security. All of these threads weave together into the fabric of the silent authority effect, that powerful, non-verbal influence that radiates from a calm, resolved, and virtuous character. It is the sum of 1,000 small, principled choices. The philosopher Epictetus, who knew true powerlessness before he knew freedom, left us with the ultimate key. He said, freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Your unshakable inner status is found in this liberation. It is the freedom that comes when you stop trying to control everything outside of you and focus all your energy on mastering what is within you, your judgments, your character, your will. This is the silent authority that commands respect without a single demand. So as we close, do not feel you must take on everything at once. The strongest fortresses are built one stone at a time. Choose just one of these principles to practice with intention this week. Perhaps it is instituting that 3-second pause before you react, or maybe it is performing one act purely for contribution without any expectation of reward. Start building your inner citadel today, brick by deliberate brick. If this path of Stoic wisdom resonates with you, and you wish to continue applying these ancient practices to the challenges of modern life, we welcome you to subscribe and join us on this ongoing journey.